of this, and then we're going to start a show, because why not hit it, Phoenix? Welcome to the PARAcast. I'm your host, Tomas the Boss Fernandez, living life halfway in through my month of vacation. Got up, did some yoga today.
You suck.
Pushing stuff around. Starting to actually get into some sort of routine here. I borrowed Tyrell Kelsey's lab radar. I donated plasma. Felt tired, didn't go out and use it. Yeah, I got my tracks.
Wait,
I got my tracks.
You donated its plasma to Tyrell?
Yes, for a lab radar.
Nice.
I don't know what he wants to do with this money.
It's a good trade.
That's a good trade. But no, yeah, I went in there. I called them up, and I'm like, I'm trying to turn. Oh, sorry. Let me introduce everybody. Joining me tonight, his hands are now legal in California. It's Robert Wyatt.
Oh, thank you for that, Judge. That's a good man. He's doing God's work right there.
Thanks, Judge Benitez. And his trigger finger runs on a massage gun motor. It's Jared Stepp.
Just hear light humming behind me, always.
But you give him a
vibrator or your finger, or yes.
Yes.
You give him a 6-pound trigger that he can't set it off. But yeah, so I was sitting around and I was talking to a neighbor, and she says, well, they're really hurting for plasma. You should go ask. And so I asked, and they're like, we'll give you $100 every time you come in for your first 10 visits. And I was like, okay, well, that's $1,000 in like the matter of a month that I can spend on gun stuff. And so I was like, okay. And then like I'm getting in there, and they have like 88 questions about, do you have AIDS? I don't have AIDS. It's like, Are you sure? Like, seriously, no judgment.
It's 2021. You probably have sucked dick, right?
How much? It's literally like, how much gay sex have you had in the past 2 months? It's like never. And they're like, are you sure? You lying?
On a scale of Freddie Mercury to Elton John, how gay are you?
And they show
like
you
a
what
Jonas brother.
Yeah.
What are you?
You know, and then you have you have like the interview with like the clinician or whatever that's in there, and then he starts pulling up pictures on a scale of 1 to 10. How hot's this guy? How hot's this guy? Just two guys talking.
Sir, those are all pictures of you.
Oh,
I know. Just answer the question.
We were talking about because there's like this question. It's like, if you were sharing a swimming pool with someone who had AIDS, could you get eggs? And I was like, what is this, the Greg Louganis question here? And then they get the guy's like, who's Greg Louganis? It's like, you know Greg Louganis, the Olympic diver who had AIDS and he wanted to compete in the Olympics and they had a big deal about it? And he was like, oh, really? It's like, oh, yeah, there was 2 great AIDS stories as I was growing up. Greg Louganis and Magic Johnson. He's like, I'll have to look that up. He's like, you should. But anyway.
It's like, okay, boomer.
No kidding. It's like, I'm 38 years old. What would you like to talk about? Greg Louganis? I mean, if we're going to talk about gay and AIDS, if we're going to answer 70 questions about this, so I go in there. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll go do this. And then, like, literally, like, the nurse literally told me I was about the longest person she's ever seen donate plasma. It took me 90 minutes.
Wait, you're the longest person she's ever seen?
Yeah, it just took forever.
That's a compliment.
I guess. All the fat middle-aged chicks blew me out by like 38 minutes. They would sit in like 20 minutes after I got plugged in and leave 20 minutes before I left.
Your stamina
yeah.
is amazing.
Well, I think it's all the chicken burritos and carne asada burritos really giving that high protein, that slow flow, that slurry I was giving out. But yeah.
Are we talking about plasma or are we talking about sex? Because I got lost here.
Either way. But yeah, I'm going to send one of these off next week or the week after to this gun right here, this Glock 17 5th gen, to Wilson Combat so they can cut the back end off of it for me. Why? Why? Because I'm going to put dot on it.
Why Wilson Combat?
Because they have a great price. They do a good job. And I've had custom work down on my Berettas from them. And they're quick. They're professional. They have more than 6 guys doing the job.
You're such a goober.
I don't mind. I listen. For all the crap that gets talked about Bill Wilson, he sure has done a lot. I mean,
well, you know what? Unlike other presidents, Bill Wilson never cussed out a competitor in front of sponsors at a major national championship. So I guess he's got that going for him.
He helped make IPSC. He was a big part of bringing that around, did bigger, and USPSA and all that stuff. And if he doesn't want to shoot, he doesn't leave. But they do good work. Like Wilson Combat does good work. I've never had a problem with Wilson Combat. And I always used to sit there and flip the gun magazines back in the early 2000s and sit there and they would have like the Wilson Combat, like the CQBs. And I was like, one day I'm going to send my stuff to Wilson Combat. And so I've done that. It's like,
I think I've owned 2 Wilson Combats, and I wasn't really impressed by either one.
which ones did you own?
I had a super old one, and then a newer CQB.
Oh, yeah?
And I mean, they're nice. It's like the thing that gets me
A
mad about the
1911 is a
Wilsons.
1911.
Yes, but the thing that infuriates me with Wilson Combat is they put Cerakote. I know they call it armor tough for their
Yeah.
fancy pants, whatever, but you're putting paint on a gun you're charging like $6,000 for. You can eat a dick.
Yeah, well, that'd be the realm of hard chrome and something.
Either chrome or DLC,
Yep.
some sort of nitride, an actual nice metal process. Then you could have my attention. But if you're just like, really,
Yeah.
we're spray painting this bitch.
All I've ever
Yeah.
sent with them is to literally have work on slides I sent them to go do. So like when it's like if I'm gonna send a gun off someone to cut and mill it and do all that jazz, then I'll send it off to somebody who does a bunch of them. And so the one thing that I was actually enjoying about their little process is direct mill, delta point, or adapter plate to fit other stuff. So I'm not locked into an optic, but having a direct mill delta point, especially that 6.5, sounds delightful.
How much is it?
$75.
That's not bad.
Had to have it cut, and then delta point, and then their plates are I think $65. And what's nice about those plates is that they allow you to have drift adjustable irons on the back. So, and then of course Wilson Combat will install the irons and zero your handgun before you send it back. They send it back to you. So it's a pretty nice deal from them.
Yeah, it's
so,
not terrible at all.
So I've used them before, but yeah, that's what I've been up to this week. So trying to do that, and then following the Benitez thing in California, which is great.
That was pretty legit.
I think
I mean,
you just
obviously,
say-
we know that this thing's going to get appealed. I mean, that's going to
Well,
happen, but at the same time, it's going to go to the Supremes.
Well, he put a 30-day stay on his own order. He's like, look, I know you guys gonna bitch about this, so I give you 30 days before it's the Wild West again. Good luck, like with the magazine ban, it was just like, smoke him if you got him, Attorney General, because
Doesn't that mean that the 30 days is up on July 4th?
that would be kind of. It was
Yeah, buddy.
almost. It was almost as if him and Killdozer shared a unique bond. I showed my kids the Killdozer video, and they just ate it up. They just loved it. I was like, yeah. And also, what does it say? The 77th anniversary of D-Day.
Of D-Day.
It was also
Yep,
today.
That's right.
The History Channel still making that Third Reich money off of the History Channel.
Buy one Reich, get 2 free.
So yeah, that's what's been going on for me.
Third Reich was the best Reich.
Not 1,000 years, unfortunately. You know, it just kind of
Hey,
puttered out.
You know what?
It puttered
You win
out.
some, you lose some. Try
You know-
harder
Dog
next time.
years.
I'll tell you what, the First Reich didn't give us jet fighters, did it? No, sir. Or the assault rifle. No, sir. We could just give that to, the third. Anyways, we're joking it being the best Reich. So if you strike us on YouTube, go screw yourself. Get a sense of humor. All right, Robert, go.
What did I do this week? I did nothing. No, it's not true. I got my holster all mounted up so I could put this 56 ounce CZ in there and go shoot that thing because, why not? Admittedly, I do have to actually go shoot a match, which
Hold it up
is
to
sort of problematic.
hold it up to the camera, Robert.
Well, I took the super weight off of the gun so it doesn't completely fall in, and then I put it onto my Shadow 2. Problem is the Shadow 2 it weighs 61 ounces right now. So I need to figure out how to get 2 ounces out of that gun.
Can you convert that to pounds?
Let's see, 48.
You're at
plus-
60, so that's 4 pounds.
Carry the one.
Yeah,
It's a lot.
It's
Four,
It's like 4
4.5
pounds, 13
pounds.
ounces, like that.
I think that probably weighs. That seriously does weigh more than my open gun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's totally pointless. When you wear that thing on your belt, you're just like, I'm falling over.
You gonna get some suspenders?
Oh yeah, like the big gay rainbow ones.
Yeah, then you could be shooting IDPA again, bud.
I'm sorry, they don't let those kind of weapons even on the premises in our sport.
I
Not
don't.
even.
That's just the thing. I don't. I know that it's totally stupid. I get that, but you go and you shoot that thing, and the dot doesn't move, and you're just like, this is disturbingly fun to shoot.
Well,
And that's all there is. It's just like you're like, you shoot and you're like, wait, that dot didn't actually move.
hear me out on this.
I didn't have to spend $5,000 on an open gun to get the dot not to move.
Oh well, I
I don't know
know.
what you're talking about.
I could imagine a time in the future where this would probably be happening, that you'd start seeing those on the open. But hear me out. Would it not be cheaper for each manufacturer to put a couple holes or hardpoint mounts on a frame and literally just have some sort of front mounted cover like they used to do for like an open gun? Just like a better solution to mount an optic to a gun. It'd also be cheaper. It's like, why not do that?
It's a matter of time, honestly.
I know, but it's just like
speaking of suppressors, Officer Jared, pretend that you're not hearing this, but I was out in a legal place to shoot that looked similar to my backyard.
I think that's called West Valley.
Yeah, right, dude. Totally.
West Valley has a 3 hertz shot ordinance. Hey, unless we hear 3, it's not a crime. All right, everybody.
Mm-hmm. I'm sitting there, I'm shooting a bunch of subsonic, and it's like pink, 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 crack. I'm like, oh, accidentally put a thunderbolt into that one.
Run inside, everyone.
We're gonna test that nobody ever questions the sound of one shot today.
You just need to start getting a ghillie suit, Robert, just in case. Like, you just walk out in the ghillie suit. If someone hears a really loud crack, you lay down. You hide. You're all right.
It's kind of the ominous thing where you walk out to your back door and you're doing that sideways like look of like, is there anybody actually walking down the street right now?
Yeah.
Nope. Game on.
Yeah. Well, the problem
is there is.
The problem is with witnesses and with shootings is generally the witnesses that hear all the gunshots hide because of the gunshots, and then when you step out to look, all you've done is re-incriminate yourself by stepping out into the open again and checking to see if anyone heard the shots while 2 or 3 witnesses are looking at you.
You'd be surprised how dumb people are. We've had people just getting shot and other people will come on out and just do all sorts of stupid stuff. We've had a crazy couple weeks. We've had a lot of wild-ass murders. Taylorsville, guys, you guys need to get out of that city because everyone's dying in it. Everyone.
I just think it's weird.
I was expecting Jared to be like, Taylorsville, you guys need to start going back to church, all right? You guys need to get your lives in order.
They need to pay tithing.
You guys need to get Jesus.
Because there's one murder last week where these kids chopped up some other kids. And then this past, 2 nights ago? Friday night, there was a wild shooting. There are actually 3 shootings, all unrelated, all occurring at the same time in Taylorsville. And we're just sitting there on the radio kind of doing that cat meme. What's going on over there? What is happening?
Well,
it's just Friday night was wild.
I think there's only one answer, and that's the Joker has decided to emerge in Taylorsville, and all these things that seem unrelated aren't.
That's kind of funny because they're starting their own police department. And they're going to get absolutely boned.
Yeah,
because it's terrible. It's been wild over there.
I mean, the majority of Taylorsville's police budget's going to be going to servicing the Walmart where all the crime happens. So,
the best part is the fact that, dude, that Walmart pays good money. They pay us like $60 an hour to sit there.
Damn.
Yeah, it's wild. So we at least like that Walmart because all the crime that happens there, they're like, well, we feel bad, so we'll contract you guys and we'll give you $60 an hour to deal with shoplifters. And we're like, that deal.
Yeah.
Can I just do this always?
All of a sudden they turn into like They turn into like 1960s security guards at casinos, like taking out their police batons, breaking hands. Don't you come back here again? You hear me? You hear me?
If
We are the
only.
law. We are the law. All right, Mr. Step. What we know what you did, Mr. Second Place National Champ to the national assistant to the national champion. Why don't you talk about your last week?
No, we it was what, a week and a half ago or so now. We went and shot the UML EMG Nationals, and I shot in the 2-gun division, which was fun because 3-gun's stupid, and 4-gun is even more stupid. But
4-gun is really rifle, PCC, and pistol. Because nobody who has a brain is going to pull the shotgun out.
Well, the other part too is like
what
the
Carrie
pistol
did
gets kind of tossed away too.
Wait, what Jared said again? What did Carrie do?
No, Carrie built this match. Carrie Palmer did EMG Nats, and he did an absolutely fantastic job. Where actually the shotgun was a very viable option on a lot of stages because the poppers were so small. The poppers were literally these. He had 2-inch KDs, and he had just a slew of them in this one pile, that's 10 of them.
That's Carrie Palmer knowing that multi-gun shooters. Not saying all of them. I'm just saying the vast majority of them, 98 percentile, can't shoot a handgun for crap.
No. So it was actually good for me,
baby,
because for the 2-gun nationals part, obviously you can't shoot any of the steel with a shotgun. You have to shoot it with your pistol, which is kind of my thing. So it went really well. I had a handful of mistakes, and I'm curious actually what you guys think about what I did for my game plan, because on day 1 I ended up just barely actually in front of Josh Wakamatsu, but the 4 stages he hadn't shot that I had, it was weird because obviously we're on different squads, and so he had a couple stages that he hadn't shot that I had and vice versa. But the 4 stages that he had shot that I hadn't, he did really well on all four. He probably shot 80 to 90% on all 4 of those stages, and one of them was absolute killer stage. He definitely shot 100% on that one. For me though, the 4 stages that he had to shoot, I went full potato on one where the popper betrayed me, and then on the second I did well, on the third I did well, on the fourth though I had a no shoot, and so I had 2 stages that were bad and 2 stages that were good. So in my opinion, I was behind Josh because the next day I knew he was going to beat me on those 2 bad stages because they were just god awful. Like they were probably 10 seconds off of the pace. So I mean, it's terrible. So what ended up happening was I went into my second day with the plan. We got 4 stages. If I can do 80 to 90% on the first 3, honestly, if I could do 80 to 90% on all of them, I'll be in a solid second. I'll be in a solid second place. The third place and fourth place were well enough behind me that I didn't really have to worry about it too much. But I knew I was slotted for second. So for day 2, I did well on the first, second, and third stage. I did exactly what I planned. I beat Josh on 2 of them just barely. The stage where I thought I could make up time, I ended up kind of flubbing that and just beat him by like a quarter of a second, where he gave up time on that stage, so I could have beat him by like 6 or 7, so I messed that one up. And so because of that, on the last stage, which is the one Josh absolutely killed, he did in 22 seconds and everybody else was like in their 30s. I made a decision, and it was basically I either need to catch him on this stage or I don't. If I go full retard on the stage, I could catch him, and if I do that, if I get anywhere close to 22 seconds, I might be able to win. But if I bugger it up, I'm still in second. So that was my idea. That was my thought process.
You swing for the fence every single time. That's not even a question.
There's literally
100%. You swing for the fence.
It's like
because it's you either win or you don't.
And that was my thing. What I was looking at it was, if I do well on stage 4, I win. If there's of course the possibility exists that Josh would do bad on his 4 stages.
But you can't control that.
But I can't control that.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I don't want him to lose. I want me to win.
Right.
That's what I wanted. And so I swung for the fences and just absolutely shit my pants.
Well, there's
And so it was just he did it. He did it in 22 seconds, and I did it like 33. So I lost 11 seconds on that stage, and I was like, oh well, I'm second place. I'm happy about that.
yeah.
And so Josh calls me afterwards. He's like, "How'd you do today, man?" And I said, "Oh man, I was doing really good. I beat you on 3 of the stages, or I lost you on one stage by like a quarter second. I beat you on the other one by like 2 or 3 total, and then this 4th stage I totally destroyed. I just went full potato and crashed and burned." And he's like, "Okay, well that's pretty good because I crashed and burned on 2 stages today, and yeah, I got 9 seconds in penalties on this one, and this and this, and so it actually ended up super, super close. And if I hadn't gone full retard on the last one, I would have won nationals because I lost it by
you
3
can play.
seconds.
You can play that game until the cows come home, and that is the danger of practice core competitor.
And that's the thing though is
Of
he did the
technology.
exact same thing though. Is
Mhm.
on
Yeah.
his stage 4, he knew what was happening. He knew what the stakes were, and
Well, and
so he was in a better spot.
Well, he didn't know either because he didn't know what you were doing or what your match was like on those other 4
Right.
stages. So he's in the I gotta send it or he's gonna catch me. So that's the one thing is too is like he knows you have nothing else to lose but to come in second place. When he has everything to lose because he's leading and so he has to do it. But the one thing that's always problematic about going full retard on stuff is, you can't go faster than what the course allows you to go. Like
Yes,
that's
you
the deal.
Yeah,
So it's like
I can guarantee that is possible. And I'm done.
so it's
Yeah,
like
exactly.
the footwork can speed up. Like you can get faster on the footwork. You can try to push in the position, and then you can be a little bit more careless with the trigger press and the side alignment. But like once that kind of starts going sideways, like all right, we're gonna lay off the gas a little bit till I can like hook this thing up. And normally
Never.
time it's like not when you feel rush is the time that you're actually laying it down. So it's it's hard.
Dude. This whole year I've been very much like trying to live according to the gospel of John Batista and the House of Speed. And when things start going south,
Attaboy.
the trick is not to go slower; it's to go faster, and try and get half as many points in half
Half
the
the
time.
best time.
You-
Just get off the clock quicker.
You have to listen to the famous Ian Malcolm, and you must go faster.
You must go faster. It's closer. The T-Rex is too close.
There's a T-Rex behind you. You must go faster.
Yeah,
Always.
and you know
But
what?
it was-
I mean, I tell you what, the game's a whole hell of a lot more fun when you go fast.
It is fun. It is fun to just go. I was super bummed, but honestly, I was actually really happy with it because I mean, my goal for that match was I wanted to get 90% at least of the match winner, so I could get the pro ranking at a national level, and then I wanted to get in the top 3. So that was my 2 goals because they had some good sponsored shooters from Vortex. One of the Gibsons
Hetherington
was in
showed up,
Yeah, Hetherington showed up, and
which I thought was a little weird.
him and Litzy were neck and neck over in TAC Ops. But I had some really good heat in my division, so I was really happy because I beat the Vortex guy, and then I also beat Travis Gibson, so I was really happy with that. He was last year's national champion for 2 guns, so I was happy I beat him. And then I was 99.65% of Wakamatsu, and so it was
What was the optic you were running on the rifle?
an SRO.
That's...
Well
oh.
done.
I built up that rifle with this match solely in mind. I'm like, we're gonna make the lightest little bitch I can do.
What was
So it
what
was,
was the
a
far-
14.5,
What was the farthest shot?
60 yards.
60 yards.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah,
so
you bring a bay gun for sure.
so the guys
Yeah.
literally show up with like Razor HDs for 2 gun.
Oh yeah, everybody had their 1 to 6s, and I'm just like, nah. There's one stage where 1 to 6 was needed, and that was they had those little piano like
Yeah.
key play
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
play
the
racks.
know your limit things.
Yeah, he had one of those at like probably 50, 60 yards, and so the last target was this little tiny bastard. So
The
I
SRO is just this
borrowed.
big old moon dot. Wow.
I grabbed one of the other dudes. I'm like, give me that razor. I'm taking your gun for a minute, and just shot the stage with his gun.
So I
But
mean,
it was fun.
how many people showed up to this match?
Yeah, and that's the thing with 3-gun. I don't know what's going on. If it's just because like people don't want to do 3-guns anymore, or it's the sponsorship stuff, or all. I don't know what's happening. But the heyday of 3-gun is gone. There are 85, like 86 people total in the entire match, counting staff. I think my division had like 13 people in it.
That's a local match in California.
That's not even a local match here.
Yeah.
Normally our locals get better than that. And so it was the one thing that was how do I say redeeming was that the level of people showed up were actually very, very good. I mean, having, Wyatt Gibson, his dad Travis Gibson, Josh Wakamatsu, you had, like you said, Hetherington, Kyle Litzy, all these dudes who are absolute stellar world class, national champions. That was fun because you were able to pace yourself off them, and you're like, okay, yeah. I mean, granted, there's only 13 people in my division, but
they're all
those
high
top
quality
3
guys.
guys.
They're high, yeah, they're the national level kind of competitors, which is cool. I don't know. I've kind of wondered if UML has just by adding all these divisions, if it's kind of watered it down, or maybe if it's just the fact that the Corona has kind of kicked people's butts and like lack of ammo, things like that.
Corona,
I think
ammunition, and
partly Corona, partly ammo, but also I'm actually kind of mad that they did a nationals match in freaking May. And
yeah,
I mean,
that's just stupid.
It's the beginning of the season. Like, freaking Josh, I was talking to him, and he was saying, yeah, I haven't shot a 3-gun match since October. And I was thinking about him, like, I don't think I have either. I think the last 3-gun match I shot was the Cop one last year.
Wow.
And it was because we had no time. Like, everybody was making a ton of mental errors. Everybody was making these mistakes with the just basic stuff that you wouldn't have in October or September. And so I was kind of disappointed that it was happening now, because I much rather would have it happen later on in the year where I feel like I'm ready for a nationals, as opposed to it was literally like, oh, I gotta go zero my gun because I don't even have anything. Oh,
I gotta go get some ammunition. I gotta go make some.
I don't have a holster.
In Kerry's defense, this historically has always been when Cedar Valley Multigun, CVMG, has always been right now, or right kind of in June-ish a bit. And so I mean that sort of makes sense as far as their timing is concerned. But that is a pretty good point of like why we have all this. I mean, heck, USPSA like production nationals was in May, like Mother's Day weekend.
Yeah,
and
like, that's crap.
Really, dude? It's like, what the heck?
Well, for the benefit of the doubt, to play devil's advocate with EMG, is like, well, do you also want to go up against other nationals or other big things in USPSA or any other sort of division or game? Do you want to go up against their nationals where people are like trying to pick other matches, or like how much time am I going to get away from work in this sector, in this section of late summer?
Yeah, but no. doesn't UML have like 3 or 4 nationals for the same multi-gun every year?
Yeah, UML's kind of weird.
Their division-y stuff and the way they do their stuff is kind of interesting. I don't know how to deal with that.
I actually really like the UML idea. I like the idea of UML. I like kind of how they're running stuff. Mm-hmm. They're making some little mistakes that they could do better with, but it is still a very relatively young organization. My big problem with UML is the pricing, man. Like,
what's up with that? That's a lot of money to shoot a large club match.
And I mean, I get it. There's a lot of work into it. I especially understand because I run my own match. I run a match that, we had 250 people at it this year. Mm-hmm. But with that, I know how much that cost. And so I charged $50 a shooter, and I think my total operating budget was probably $10,000 or so, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that, okay, basically 25% goes to the range, 25% goes to shirts, 5%, 10% goes to all the awards, and then I have a solid 30-40% of that $50 left just to buy shit. And so I bought guns, I bought plate carriers, I bought plates, I bought all sorts of stuff. I bought ammo, I bought mags, I bought a ton of stuff to give out at that match. But the thing that always confuses me about these national matches, it's like, if you have 100 competitors show up and they all are paying $250 or $300, that's, $25,000, $30,000. And again, going of that $250, it makes sense if you have a quote unquote national match where you have to pay for your ROs to have hotels. You have to buy them food. You have to do this. You have to do this. You have to do this. And all that money can get divvied out, and I can understand that. But on something like this, where I'm like, I don't think they paid for any of the ROs because all the ROs lived around here. I don't think they gave the ROs cash. I don't think he bought anything for the prize table, just judging on what it was. I mean, the only ones who got prizes were the winners. It was just odd because, again, I'm wondering, like, where does this money go? If it goes to the club, I'm fine with that. If it goes to UDPL, I'm actually excited for that because good for them. Have some money, use it. If it goes to UML, I'm a little less jazzed about that because, again, what does UML provide for the sport? Like, should they get $200 a person just for that? Like, I don't know. I don't know how it works.
The question is, do you go to a match because it has UML in it, or do you go to a match because it's a big 3-gun match?
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of
the competition
question that some people ask.
Because it's you're paying for the service of the match, and that's what always goes into the match price of what you're going into or what you're buying is the transaction. Was the transaction worth it? And
it's like people go to a USPSA match because it's a known entity. You go there because, like, here's the rule book that we're run under. These are the type of stages that we expect, and we have a track history of providing this level of service, even when like production nationals this year was basically shoot from the box nationals. So I can't really say it's a necessarily always a good experience, but at least with USPSA, there's a history that's old enough. And you actually speak to this, Jared, where you say that UML, not to dig on it or anything, is still a relatively young game.
Yeah, and I mean it's just curious, and I mean I get the ideas behind it all, and I get it's a national match, so you're paying the $250 to $300 because that's the going rate for national matches, and I understand that.
Ooh, here's a question though. I mean,
it's just
if that's the going rate for a national match, then let's just call all of our matches national matches and charge $300, as opposed to a sectional, which may or may not be what it is.
Well, and that's
who knows?
The thing. I mean, it's just odd because I mean, like, honestly, like, sponsors wise, I should go grab the shirt because I think they had like 5 sponsors. You had Stag Arms, you had Titan Ballistics, you had Vortex, Hunters HD Gold, and Rock Island Armory, and I think that was it.
Wow.
And
that alone is kind of is kind of telling, especially coming from the old 3-gun days where 20 people deep were walking home with a rifle.
Mm-hmm. Well, and again, like, for me, when I think of a nationals match, I would think of there are going to be booths. There's going to be a whole section of just sponsors. There's going to be a whole section of guys there with, like, hey, come over here and look at my Atlas Gunworks gun, or come over here, look at my Akai, come over here, look at this.
Well, maybe that's just the draw of Fairfield, Utah.
I don't know.
It could be, but
where's the great places you stay in the greater Lehigh, Saratoga Springs areas? and then make your way out to Fairfield. And like,
Hey, they got a nice Marriott.
yeah, they have a nice Marriott, and then like all the great places to eat and all the plumbing out there on the range is like, I understand that they're doing a lot of great improvements on the range and trying to make that better since it's changed ownership. But the also thing is like, I'm sorry, but we don't really have a whole lot of national hosting capabilities out here. I mean, we might have the real estate, but as far as everything that goes on top of just putting some people in a bay, we're not known for it. And so I think there's a lot of stuff that goes on there, and it's just like, where are you holding your nationals this year? Utah.
Well, and now they're all pushing the Nats. I heard apparently there's something that happened between like UML and the Las Vegas Pro Gun Club. So now apparently all the big world shoots or their other national matches are all happening at the Colorado Grand Junction match, the Grand Junction one, which is actually, I've heard great things about. That's
the problem with Cameo. The problem with Cameo is they do not have the support structure that can actually support those matches. It's not there yet.
Isn't that the one where you guys were talking about how it has like the Wi-Fi on every?
Oh yeah, that's the one.
So they got a lot of nice stuff.
It's a fantastic range, and who's it? Mac Burnett's the one who set up all that Wi-Fi and stuff like that. So, but they don't have people down there. It's the same problem that St. George always had, where you have a volunteer corps, but eventually you're going to burn that corps out, and if there's no way to get people into it, then what do you do? And so then it always comes back to this idea of, how do we attract staff that, well, number one, are competent? Because I mean, if USPSA has a problem right now, it's the RO staff is questionable, is probably putting it mildly. There are people who show up to nationals to be ROs that, quite frankly, are so far past their prime, if they ever had one, and they're just doing it because they retired early and have nothing else to do except for drag ma and pa across the country to work nationals matches.
And then you go back to the thing of maybe here's the deal. Like, so if you wanted to build up kind of a nest egg that you could actually get people used to a price, and then maybe use that money to attracting good support staff, maybe you do have to start charging $250 to build a level in which you can have a higher RO staff and support.
Here's what you do though. I'm a firm believer in communication. If you go through and you set your price for a match, say it's like an area match or a sectional or whatever, and in the practice score link it says this is how much it costs, but then right below it says this $20 of your price is going to pay for the staffing, so that we can attract quality staffing. We're going to put them up in hotels, pay for their meals, let them shoot the match. And if you tell everybody what is going into their fee, people, I think, because you talk to everybody, they're like, yeah, I would totally pay another $50 for good staff and people that reset the match or something like that. I mean, if you talk to the guys out in Georgia, that I just signed up for Georgia State. So we're going to be doing that the same weekend as Area 4. But you shoot that match and you don't reset anything. It's all done. But they've figured out how to do it, and they create really good matches based around this idea that we can actually create a good match that people want to come to, and it's economical. It's all about communication.
Well, and that's great if you've decided how you're going to dispatch the monies. Right? So if you haven't decided yet, you're like, we need a nest egg and then we need to prioritize where this money goes. The last thing you want to do is tell everybody, this is where your money's going to be going. Because if you don't send your money that way, what are you now? Like you're like some thief asshole.
Nope.
You're very sneaky.
In that situation, you be honest with
More
people
open
and you tell
communication.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah. People in life are much more okay with problems coming up if you at least communicate with them.
Yeah.
I mean, the second that you try and be all sneaky,
yeah,
then we suddenly have issues.
Yeah, it's
because
just
then people are like, well, where's all that money going? I know you took it.
Well, you told
yeah,
us
but all
this
that
would
money
be
went
here.
to the fees and all these
Yeah.
other things. Well, I don't care. I can't see it.
Yes,
I
because
mean, it's the same problem that USPSA has. I mean, their books are so. They basically do all their filings on an Excel spreadsheet, and it's like, when's the last time you guys actually ran the books? November.
Listen,
That's how I run my match fees. I have an Excel spreadsheet for the last 3 years.
Yeah, you're not a multi-million-dollar company either.
Personal travel expenses can be listed a myriad of different ways.
Am I doing this wrong?
Somebody explain to me why Troy McManus went to the Super Bowl on USPSA membership funds? Well, that's kind of awkward.
Anyways, what's not awkward is heading over to Telegram, where you can ask us questions we'll answer before you get 50 minutes farther into this show. Also, join us on Patreon, get a longer uncensored version of the show. We talked about something, but it was so damn long ago I can't remember what it was. Robert, hit it.
From Dave the Humble Marksman Blanton, will two-gun become a thing in USPSA?
It should.
Oh, Lord.
It should. Why not? Well, honestly...
The more appropriate question would be, how long before USPSA messes up two-gun so badly that nobody wants to shoot it?
Well, I would tell you that...
Nationals isn't over yet, so, I mean, give them time.
No, I know, but I think it's a little... Especially with the way that the multi-gun landscape is now, that it would at least have a little bit more of a sheen, a prestige to it.
If USPSA's goal seems to be to expand its membership and get more people in the game, and that's what it seems to be their primary goal right now is, two-gun would be a very, very smart move for them, because to be frank, everybody loves two-gun. Everybody loves two-gun.
Why do anything else?
And
yeah, why don't people love three-gun? Because shotguns suck.
Because shotguns suck. They don't ever work. I mean, it's just, whatever.
Well, the other part too is
I think would be a lot of fun, especially in a USPSA where I already have my USPSA membership paid for, and you already have all the classifiers. You have all this stuff, and I'm sure obviously they have to come up with new ones, but they have a lot of infrastructure in place which would benefit that sport, and it wouldn't surprise me if USPSA two-gun became much more popular.
Well, and the one thing with like USPSA, when you especially limit it to two guns, it's a lot easier to break out. You could have 4 divisions and basically cover everything that you would want in there. You do not need a two-gun revolver division. You don't need a two-gun single-stack division. You need like two-gun production, two-gun carry optics, two-gun limited, two-gun open.
I think what's his name? Mike Morgan. He showed up to two-gun nationals with a revolver.
Jeez,
I was impressed. Not gonna lie.
What's the 8-shot 357 Magnum? Is that on an N frame? Just show up with that thing.
What is it? The TR8?
Yeah, the Thunder Ranch 8-shot. Yeah, with the light and the optic. There's a steady optic rail. That's a good optic rail.
All right, from Justin R. Any thoughts or experience with quality Form 1 suppressor kits, JK Armament and the like?
Nope.
I've done 3 Form 1s. 3? Maybe 4. I don't know. I've done some Form 1s.
Go with a higher number to cover your bases better.
Attaboy. I don't have a dog, so I don't care. No, I've done Form 1 suppressors. Really simple. If you have the tools to do the machining, it's a very simple process. That's the easiest way I can describe it. Where you have the drills, the lathes, all that sort of stuff. If you have all that in place, it's pretty fun. Now, no matter who the suppressor manufacturer is, or the parts manufacturer technically. But when I did it, it was through SD Tactical. They did a great job. So I've done 2 of those through there. I can't remember. I did another one, but I can't remember where it was from.
What caliber?
Oh, that's actually a really interesting point. A lot of people want to do like rifle, and I've never seen it work well. If you keep it in the pistol caliber, you're going to do really well. Like the 9mm 45. .22 long rifle is a blast, and it's stupid quiet.
Is the problem with the rifle just the pressure and your own ability to keep the rifle suppressor, its structural integrity?
The boom boom is louder.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah.
Boy, Graham Thumb, he put out, I think it was recent, but he put out a really good video talking about silencers, talking about how people, they always pay attention to the decibel rating of the suppressor itself. And he says with rifles, that the thing about rifles is that
the tone
is actually what you really care about, because there are quieter ones and louder ones, but the tone that comes off that makes all the difference in the world. And I never really had the words to express that, but with the way when he said it, I'm like, yeah, actually that's 100% correct.
Mike is an artist. That would be my only concern, though, is if you're Form 1ing and making your own can, I'd say if you're doing the 22 route, have fun. If you're doing a subsonic, pistol or 300 blackout, have fun. But once you start getting into that super high pressures, I would feel nervous about just using some random metal I found on the Amazons.
100%.
So I would
Amazon.
I would
for one in here. Wish.com. Wish.com is where we're going.
Right. This is 3D printed in canal baffles. Those are great.
And there they go down the range, everybody.
From Alex Mansfield, does wanting a PCC make me gay? Just asking for a friend.
Just depends on how long the barrel is. Just as a doctor, I'm going to show you some pictures. You just tell me how hot they are. No judgment.
Wanting a PCC? No. Showing up
Freddie
to
Mercury.
a pistol match? That's Freddie Mercury. I think PCCs are some of the funnest guns out there.
Tom,
I have such a great time with them.
do you have a PCC, Tom?
I don't. I've not. There's only two PCCs that I really have my eyes on, and that
MP5 and
well, not the MP5. That's the funny thing is like that one does not interest me.
That AK-9V from Palmetto.
AK-9V Palmetto, and then
pretty sick.
and then the SIG Scorpion, the Scorpion Evo. I listen. In the year 2021 of our Lord, your gun needs a bolt hold open device. I'm sorry, it does, and it needs a bolt catch to drop it. And honestly, it's like I'm not going to pay $60.
If your gun holds 50 some odd rounds, do you really have a problem with the gun?
None of them hold 50 some odd rounds. Great. I mean, I want a 35 round banana magazine because it's a tapered case. I want to be able to stick it into a gun. I want to be able to drop a bolt. That's what I want. That's all I want. I don't need stamped sheet metal anywhere anymore. I don't need it. When's the last thing you ordered off of Amazon that came with stamped sheet metal? Nowhere. But for some reason, it's still okay here. If someone made a quality version of like the UMP, like that would be kind of cool because I like the HK stuff. But like I really think the Scorpion Evo is about
the UMP sucks.
It does.
What is it? What is it? A 9mm or what?
It's an HK 40 cal blowback potato.
They have it in 45, 40, and 9mm, and it's basically a polymer frame laid out like a box. Make an MP5, put it in low resolution, make it polymer. That's a UMP.
I have a high
point carbine.
Same thing.
Carbine.
Yeah. No, if
I have my 45 SBR, and I quite enjoy that. It's very fun to shoot.
Yeah, I have
two 9mm PCCs, and I love them both. I think the reason why people get mad about the PCCs is because guys will show up to a USPSA match, beat the guys in production and limited and open with a PCC, and then brag about it. And people are like, no, there's no bragging there. That you should. You had a rifle, you retard.
Yeah, if you lost to everybody, that just means you really suck.
It's just the stage design that goes away.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
The stage design is the only thing that bugs me about it. And then if there's a reload, of course, there's like, hey, there's no mandatory reload. And by the way, here's 8 targets put out there, and we put a stick in between 4 of them. And so now, guess what? It's two different. It's two visions. It's two views.
You know what? I mean, the stages anymore. I mean, if anything, the stages have actually gotten to the point where they are more negative to low cap than they are to PCC.
Shoot single stack in a
You wanna
PCC
shoot-
universe.
Yeah, if you want to shoot a legitimate good match, and Jared, I mean, seriously, props to you for this. The best match I've shot in a long damn time was that Not a Cop match. It was, yeah, you know what? I never got the shirt. I never got one of those shirts. That was so sad. It was
Well,
a very
F
nice
you.
shirt too. I know. I was very
Pay
sad
more.
about that.
I might
was
have
the
an
sponsor,
extra
damn
one.
it. But
I might have an extra one for you, Robert.
I'd
What
take
size
that.
are you?
Large X large. I don't care.
Okay. Maybe I might have an extra XL. I was gonna send it over to S-Tac, but maybe I'll give it to you.
Let's see what happens. I'd
yeah.
send it to S-Tac. They're such good people.
When I break
like
it, when I break
Those
the,
dudes go out of their way to like support, and so it's like, yeah, they're awesome.
I got this instead of buying a PCC, which here nor there. But if I'm
I
getting
love
one,
shooting PCC. I think it's absolutely.
the one thing is like I'm getting something that takes those Evo mags because they're damn $15. Throw
Yeah.
a stick, you can find them, and I'm gonna buy something that was not engineered from something else to shoot a 9mm. I'm gonna get 9mm. I'm gonna get blowback. I'm not gonna buy something that we put a roller lock design in it, just like the MP5, because none of you punks can do that, right? So we're not doing that. Blowback, polymer, bolt open, hold open device. That's all I want in the world. Go from there.
All right. Also from Alex Manfield, in your opinion, if I wanted to get into open, what builders should I be looking at, Jared? This is right up your alley.
Phoenix Trinity Honcho is, in my opinion, the only one you should go with right now. There's a lot of really good builders. There's a lot of really good guns out there. And to be frank, I mean, you're not going to go wrong with any of them. But in my opinion, this Honcho that I have, it's nicer than the Atlases I've played with. It's a hell of a lot nicer than the Akai I played with, because the Akai went and died. And Shay Akai was called, and Shay said, "No thanks, go F yourself." So that was cool. And so my buddy has a $6,000 paperweight, which sucks for him. But these Honchos are absolutely great, especially on they have those sales. I got this for straight up $4,200.
Jeez.
$4,200 for a full tilt open gun with 3 barrels, where I can do major, I can do minor, I can change this out and do a sight block. I can swap this. I take this off and move it around, and it's still zeroed. This is an absolutely fantastic gun, and I don't know if you can see. If it's
the serials on that thing. That
my
was so
serial
awesome.
number.
It doesn't show up.
It doesn't
but-
show up, no. Yeah.
I was debating between Burt or Boogaloo, and I went with Boogaloo.
Well,
But it's an absolutely great gun. They're beautiful. They're gorgeous looking guns. The craftsmanship on here, I've owned a lot of 1911 and 2011s, and to be honest with you, this is the best I've seen. I mean, this is top tier. I've played with Infinities, I've played with Atlases, I've played with Akais, and I like this more than the Chaos I played with, and I think this is nicer. I think it shoots better. I think there's no reason to not buy this gun if you want an open gun.
it's awesome.
The end.
Let's see. Last question from Dirk Hopkins. When are we going to see you 4 at the range?
Soon.
Never.
Soon.
Soon.
I'm signed up for next week. It'll be the
Actually,
only match I shoot in June.
Are you signed up for Slipsa?
That's next week, yeah.
Okay, I'll sign up for it. I'll see if I can get on your squad, but I probably won't because you're always off with your
No,
you got your groupies.
Nope. I've actually stopped shooting on that.
But Kenny's groupies, get over it, Step.
I have
please.
no. I mean, I've tried to make a point of shooting with other squads. Just not so much with this idea that you don't want to shoot with all your buddies on the same squad, but I find that shooting with other people, especially like different skill levels, I mean up and obviously a little bit down of you, it helps them, and they get to see, you know, this is how to properly run a stage. Here's some of the things that, you know, you should be doing and shouldn't be doing. It's sort of this idea of, if we want to teach the new people in this game how we should be acting on stages, you know, like don't be walking through the stage unless you're the on-deck shooter, stuff like that.
Don't
then
hang around all the old guys. Yeah.
Yeah, we need to get outside of our normal patterns, and at least be demonstrating things proper to the other guys. And that's hard because the argument is like, well, I paid my $20 and I'm gonna go shoot with the best, which I totally understand. But we talked about it last year, towards the end of the year, in one of the slips of board meeting things that
Range
they
etiquette.
come to. Yeah, about range etiquette and things like that. And the comment was like, you have this squad 6 who it's always the same guys doing the same thing, and that's fine, you understand it. But how are we going to teach the new people how to, be good and behave and carry on the proper ideas and traditions, unless we're actually, we're physically putting ourselves into other squads? And I was kind of like, well, yeah, that's actually a good point.
Awesome.
No, I'll come out that next week. I got a bunch of new loads that I need to see if they even work in this gun. So I need to.
Well, I have
sign up.
Tyrell's lab radar. I'll just bring that out for everybody. We'll just have fun.
Alright.
Somebody shoots it.
You did trade a bunch of blood for it, so you might as well.
I might as well. I did pour the plasma on it, so when I give it back, he can scrape it out. But
in the question, did they ask you if you had the COVID-19 vaccine? Because I think it was something like that. You can't give plasma.
you can't get convalescent plasma if you have the vaccine.
Right on.
So.
Right on.
But yeah, it was a good time. A little dehydrated, proteins at the max, like always. That's the way I roll. Low on the water, high on the protein. Anyway, thanks for downloading, listening, and subscribing. We'd like to thank Jared for stepping in again, and Koski's still on a honeymoon. Kenny is on call for work, so no one's been dismissed from the podcast. Everybody, we just want to get you guys on, get you guys a show, and we have great people that come in and fill in, and so. And they, even if they don't remember that the HK 433 is known as the Kilo 141 on Warzone. I know, I just memorized that too.
Any consolation, I don't even know what Warzone is, so
that's Call of Duty Warzone.
A Call of Duty thing.
Yeah, it's the Kilo 141's the same weapon that Captain Price.
Don't shake your head at me, Jared. I was averaging 14 hours a day this last week. So
yeah.
What? So I kind of came home and was sort of tired.
Welcome to law enforcement.
Oh, there goes the mic drop.
Well, thanks for downloading, listening, and subscribing. Thanks for giving us a like. Thanks for heading over to Telegram, joining us over there on that. Also, you can watch a video representation of the show over at PARAcast Podcast on YouTube. And so
Susan WikiWiki doesn't cancel us for promoting gun violence.
We are
defensively, Susan, defensively.
Well, I think it's the Third Reich comment because it's going to get us thrown off first. Anyways, thanks for downloading. Thanks for listening.
It was defensive. Think about it. They were minding their own business and they're like, hey, we're worried about all these.
I don't think
attacking us.
I don't think that the Blitzkrieg counts as. I don't think that the Blitzkrieg ever counted as minding your own business or the Battle of Britain. Anyway, for Robert Wyatt and Jared Stepp, I'm Tom Nelson, bidding you peace, love, and soul as we depart into the open waters of the Sea of Life on a little boat we like to call the PARAcast. Outro Phoenix, goodbye solo. Here we go.
Good night, everybody.
Doot doot.